this week I'm starting a new series and it's going to be all about apartment decorations because I'm not sure if I've mentioned this in a video or not, but I am moving in August to a new apartment with two of my friends, and we have just kind of been like talking about ideas and different things that we can do to decorate. And you guys know I love doing DIYs, so I decided that I was going to do a lot of DIYs to decorate our apartment. So over the next few months, I'm going to be showing you guys all of the DIYs that I decide to do to decorate. My stomach's growling. It's lunchtime. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make these beautiful DIY coasters. And I went with these two patterns because they're pretty neutral and we haven't exactly decided the theme we want to go with for our living room and kitchen yet. So I wanted to go with something neutral that would match whatever decorations we decide to go with. So these are adorable, which is the most important, of course, but they're also pretty practical too because they have a water-resistant seal on them. You know, I always try to stick to the easier DIYs because I'm not super creatively talented, if that's even a thing. Hopefully each of these will kind of give you some inspiration or some ideas or whatever you need over the next few months during this apartment decor series. Alright guys, I'm just gonna snap us on into this video. For this DIY, you'll need some scrapbook paper. I decided to go with these two designs. Some biscuit tiles from Lowe's, these are just the plain ones. Some Mod Podge, I went with the glossy kind. Acrylic sealer, again I went with glossy. Some spongy paintbrushes, and it's really important that they're the spongy kind, and some little felt circles that we're going to stick to the back. So I'm starting by spreading out some newspaper just to protect my table, and then I'm flipping over my first piece of scrapbook paper, lining up my tile on the edge, making sure it's perfectly lined up, and then I'm using a pencil to trace down two edges of my tile so I'll have a nice even line to cut. Then I'm going in with my scissors and carefully cutting down that line I just created, and then I'm going to measure the square that I cut right against my tile just to make sure that it's perfectly even. Next, I am pouring some of my Mod Podge out on a plate and using my spongy brush to start covering the top of my tile. The most important thing on this step is to make sure that you don't get it too thick because it will cause your scrapbook paper to wrinkle up. So I am applying a very thin layer to the top of my tile, and I'm making sure to keep my brush strokes all in one direction, and I'm also putting a little bit on the sides of my tile just in case there's any extra scrapbook paper. I can just fold it over and make it look nice and neat. And then I am quickly getting my paper lined up on my coaster. It is very important that you do this quickly because Mod Podge dries extremely fast. So once I get it lined up, I'm just pressing it down with my fingers and making sure there are no wrinkles. And I'm running my fingers down the edges and the corners just to make sure everything is laid down right. Next, I'm applying another layer of Mod Podge on top of my scrapbook paper. And again, make sure that this is a very thin layer because it will wrinkle and it will look really funny if you have big globs of Mod Podge. So I'm making sure it is really thin, and I'm applying a little bit extra on the edges. And then I'm waiting 15 minutes for that to completely dry, and it is very important that you make sure it is completely dry. And then we're going to put another coat of Mod Podge on it. And I decided to go with 2 coats, but you can always add more if you want. It's totally up to you. But 2 coats did seem to do the trick. And then I'm waiting another 15 minutes to make sure that's dried. And then I'm spraying a thin layer of acrylic sealer from 2 different angles. And these turned out so adorable that I decided to do some more in another pattern just to mix it up a little bit. So I am just following the same exact steps I did before, tracing my tile onto my scrapbook paper, cutting it out with my scissors very carefully, and then I'm going to apply some Mod Podge to the top of my tile, a very thin layer to make sure it doesn't get wrinkled. And then I'm lining up my wood patterned scrapbook paper onto my tile, pressing that down with my fingers, making sure to avoid any wrinkles. And then I'm applying a layer of Mod Podge on top of my scrapbook paper. And I really noticed with this particular pattern that when I applied the Mod Podge on top of it, it really made the colors pop and it just brought the pattern to life. So I was really happy with the way that these turned out. Wait 15 minutes for that to dry, and then we are going to go in for a second coat of Mod Podge. Just can't stop dancing. Again now, spin around now, down now. I think this is my favorite out of the two just because I was so impressed with how this like wood texture turned out. So we're going to wait another 15 minutes for that to dry and then spray some more acrylic sealer from 2 different angles on this one as well. I let these dry overnight to make sure they were completely dry, and then I'm flipping them over and adding my little felt dots to each one. So I put one on each corner of the coasters, and this just kind of gives it that finishing touch, and it protects any wood surface that they might be sitting on. And that is it, guys! Now we have 2 adorable sets of coasters, and these turned out super cute. I am so happy with the results. This part is totally optional, but you could tie some burlap string around them and give them as a gift, or just keep them as a cute little decoration. I think it adds a cute little vintage feel, and these would be a perfect gift for your mom. I know my mom would love to get these, so I actually might make her some. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!